Victoria Bowman.
I'm Mimi Nadite.
And I'm Joy Pagan.
And we are your BEA STEM ambassadors. We are streaming live from the STEMCityUSA.com Education and Discovery Auditorium. Today, we are excited to welcome our guest career day professional, Commander Desmond Walker.
Commander Walker is serving in the United States Navy as a nuclear program manager and executive officer of the USS Bainbridge. Commander Walker was also an award winner at the 36th BEA STEM Conference, where he received the Career Achievement in Government Award.
He graduated from Norfolk State University with a Bachelor of Science in Electronics Technology. Then he furthered his education at Old Dominion University, where he received a Master of Engineering Management.
Wait, there's more. He went to obtain a master's degree of administration from Central Michigan University, all while serving in the Navy. We're so excited to have Commander Walker as our guest speaker today. But before we begin, let's take a short commercial break.
Every day at Lockheed Martin, we are creating the future. When did I decide to become an engineer? Where I grew up in my village, we had a lot of interaction with nature. So I was always fascinated by the flight of the hummingbird. Seeing this marvelous aerodynamics of the hummingbird gave me this general idea that I wanted to be working on the ability to control things that flew. I've had this long running curiosity, I still do today, of asking the question, why is this the way it is? Are there ways to improve what it does? And in fact, those are the same questions we ask every day at Lockheed Martin. That's why my colleagues come to work saying, this is great, we've done all these great things, we've built all these great systems, how could we make it better? And how could we make it better together? Lockheed Martin's engineers and scientists are at the forefront of innovation. Everything from AI and machine learning to hypersonics to directed energy. Individually, all these are really critical capabilities that we need to develop. To actually deliver something ahead of ready to our customers, it takes pulling these pieces together into an overall mission capability. What we are doing here matters to our nation, to our nation's security.
Thank you, Commander Walker. Now we have a few questions for you.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be here.
Hello. Can you tell me Navy's nuclear propulsion program?
Yes, I'm representing. Well, let me start over. I am been in Navy for 6 years now, and I am serving as a nuclear trained warfare officer, where I have the opportunity to serve on conventionally powered ships and our nuclear powered steam driven ships, and it's been a wonderful experience thus far as I've matriculated through the United States Navy.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting.
Right.
Thank you so much. Is it okay if we can see hear more about your career? It sounds really interesting. We would love to go and hear more in depth about it.
Great. Okay, so let me bring up, I have a presentation I wanted to go through first. All right. So yeah, again, because I've been in Navy 26 years, almost 27 years. Now, I actually enlisted first back in 1996 as electronics technician. and I was able to be selected as an officer candidate through the Seaman to Admiral program. And that opportunity provided me the chance to pause my enlisted career and go to the Naval ROTC at Norfolk State University, where I was able to get my degree. So I spent 2.5 years in Norfolk State, and also participated in ROTC while working on my degree. And I commissioned in 2005. I'm sorry, 2005. And as a surface warfare officer, from there, I reported to my first officer tour of duty on the USS Baton. It's an amphibious assault carrier. And there I was able to do a lot of good work with our United States Marine Corps as well. Interesting fact there, my ship was the first one to respond in support of humanitarian efforts for Hurricane Katrina several years ago. So that was a unique experience, and it was an honor to do that. After Baton, I then began my nuclear training in the Navy's nuclear propulsion program, which consisted of about 6 months of academic work at the graduate level, and then transitioned to 6 months of hands-on training at what we call moored training submarines. They're basically retired submarines, but they still have an active reactor and propulsion system that we use for training. After completing that training, I then reported to my first nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, USS Harry S. Truman, where I was assigned as the Reactor Laboratories Division Officer. And I had the unique role of qualifying as a propulsion plant watch officer, where I supervised a team of nuclear trained professionals in all facets of nuclear power for propulsion and electrical distribution on the ship, and specifically leading around 20 enlisted sailors. They were called engineering laboratory technicians, where their primary roles centered around providing coverage for any work that had any radiological controls or contamination controls that were necessary to ensure that all of our work kept everyone safe. From there, I certified as a nuclear engineering officer within the Navy's nuclear propulsion program under the Department of Energy, which was a unique experience as well. Then from there is when I fulfilled my role as a nuclear programs manager that you mentioned in the beginning. As a nuclear programs manager, now I had a role in finding the next future leaders in the Navy's nuclear propulsion program. So I assisted local recruiters throughout the country in finding talent across our colleges and universities to have them come in and do the same job that I did. From there, I had more roles to fill in an operational setting, where I was an operations officer on a guided missile destroyer, USS Kearney, and then I reported to another aircraft carrier, USS Carl Vinson, where I was a chemistry and radiological controls assistant. So there's where I assisted the reactor officer again in all facets of radiological controls and chemistry controls for our nuclear propulsion system on the aircraft carrier. Unique role there was monitoring around 26 different metrics throughout the ship to again ensure that we were always able to operate the ship safely. One of the phrases that we like to use is called answering the bell, powering the bus, and steaming the roof. What that means is we use our nuclear reactor to heat up, basically superheat water to generate steam. We then put that steam to work with our turbine generators to spin those turbines to then spin the shafts that propel the ship through the water. And then we also have a different set of turbine generators for generating electrical power. And then we also use that same steam to for our catapult. So if you ever see an aircraft carrier and you see airplanes, tactical aircraft flying on and off aircraft carriers, we're using the reactors to generate that steam to launch them off the ship. So it's a unique responsibility. It's a great opportunity, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. And so a little bit more about my background. I'm originally from Hollandale, Mississippi. We've talked about some of the things that are on the slide. Another interesting fact is the educational opportunities I was able to achieve while in the military. My bachelor's degree, which was a STEM program, in electronics technology, that was funded through the ROTC program. Then my first master's degree, which was a master in engineering management, that was also funded through a program called Graduate Education Voucher with the military. And then my second master's, the business administration with an emphasis in human resources. That's the degree I did pay for myself because I just wanted to professionalize some of the experience I've had over the last 2 decades. But I would tell you this as well. My foundation for my educational background really starts with high school. I was a student at the Mississippi School for Mathematics and Science as an 11th and 12th grader. So you can see from that kind of background, I've been involved in STEM for over 25 years, almost 30 years now. And STEM has definitely been the way to go. And so one of the things I want to talk about too is one of my biggest challenges. I'd say out of all the things that I've done, qualifying as a Navy nuclear engineering officer has probably and continues to be the most difficult thing I've ever done in the military so far, which leaned heavy on my STEM background. As I said before, 6 months of educational work, 6 months of integrated plant operations, and then 27 months as a propulsion plant watch officer. The biggest takeaway from that experience was just the level of academic rigor that was required to ensure that I was able to be a part of a high functioning team that allowed me to be successful. The postgraduate education, as example, in the training pipeline, revolved around reactor theory, calculus-based physics, materials courses where we talked about things like brittle fracture, reactor dynamics, several classes in heat transfer and fluid flow, classes in electrical engineering, classes in core characteristics and understanding how a nuclear reactor would work. And so I just did the STEM background, the STEM foundation I had was just played a critical role in me continually being successful in what I call my biggest challenge in the Navy. Another thing I want to talk about or mention as well is the actual certification process as a Navy nuclear engineer within the Navy's nuclear propulsion program. It actually has 3 tiers or 3 ways you can contribute to this industry. First, as an operator, that's what I would classify as. I am certified to supervise, maintain, and operate our propulsion systems, a reactor and associated propulsion systems. And that's whether I'm on an aircraft carrier or on one of our nuclear powered submarines. Another level is being a Navy nuclear propulsion program instructor. That's located in Charleston, South Carolina at our primary training location, where the Navy recruits you to be an instructor. And so those classes I mentioned before about theory and thermodynamics, things like that, there are people that are trained to actually teach the information. So that's a part of it as well. And then the third part is we call it Naval Reactors Engineer, where you work in our home facility, our main facility in Naval Reactors in Washington, D.C., on the Washington Navy Yard, where you're more involved in the design and policy aspect of the the nuclear propulsion program. So it's whether it's working on what kind of valves we should have, what kind of core we should have, what kind of screws we should have, what kind of piping we should have, whether it should be aluminum or steel. All of those kinds of things from a systems engineering perspective is another part of our nuclear propulsion program within the Navy. And so you can't get anywhere without mentorship and advocacy and sponsorship. And the mentor who has helped me the most over my career, especially as a Navy nuclear officer, is my good friend and mentor, Captain Rob Francis. I actually met him during my tour on the USS Harry S. Truman, my first nuclear tour. At that point, he was what we would call a detailer, where they help you find your next job. And he actually sat down with me and talked about my career progression and career management. And that was the first time I ever had that in-depth conversation where I didn't just have a conversation about the job I was in, but the job I had, or the career portion of like, where did I see myself in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years? And he really gave me insight into how many opportunities I would have if I stayed on track. And so I've talked a lot about what it's been like for me. I'm in the Navy, but I want to show you a small video on what it's like to be a Navy nuke officer in the Navy.
We're in charge of people who make the ship move like it's supposed to move, and that we have enough power to do that.
I supervise a watch team that supports safe reactor operation to provide propulsion for our carriers and our submarines.
We oversee machinist mates, electricians, electrical technicians.
There are 35 total officers just within reactor department on an aircraft carrier, compared to less than a dozen total officers for the whole submarine.
The thing that drew me to the submarine the most was the camaraderie. Very small number of people, very close-knit group of people. Same maintenance requirements on the bigger aircraft carriers, but we have a group of people that's a quarter of the size that has to get the same job done. There's a lot of pride that you get.
Right, so it's a completely different world, split between submarines and aircraft carriers.
I'm the reactor officer on board USS Theodore Roosevelt. I am the officer who's in charge of all of the department that runs both reactors, which provide steam to all 4 main engines, all 4 ship service turbine generators that provide electricity to the ship, as well as all 4 distilling units that we use to make fresh water from seawater.
I went to the Naval Academy, and straight out of the Naval Academy, one of the options was to be a nuclear qualified surface warfare officer.
I went to a surface ship and got my surface warfare officer qualifications, and then I went off to nuclear power training. They're actually with other officers who are either going to go submarines or to aircraft carriers. All of our prototypes are based on submarine plants. So all the principles are the same.
It's very tough work, it's rewarding work, but you definitely work hard for it.
Leading smart people is very difficult because they're always trying to get one step ahead of you. But they also teach me too, and that's the great benefit of being a humble leader.
So some of the advantages about being a nuke surface officer, being part of the action every single day, millions of dollars worth of equipment that you're in charge of. There is concrete accomplishments at the end of the day of seeing them fix things, seeing them maintain things, and keeping the ship operating.
So I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed that small video, just to give you another insight into what it's like to be a Navy nuclear officer. And so finally, one thing I want to talk about is how I got here. As a high school student at Mississippi School for Mathematics and Science, obviously there was a lot of courses in STEM involved in that. I took classes like, advanced placement chemistry, advanced placement history. I was in an electrical or electronics course. the calculus and physics is always there as well. And so having that academically was great. But then I also branched out a little bit. I actually played basketball for my high school. It's a small high school, so I wasn't like LeBron James or anything. But I was able to play basketball. I was a part of the chess club. I was part of an electronics club, and so having the academics was fun. But then having the social aspect to further develop my thoughts and ideas about what kind of person I want to be when I grow up, all those things matter. And I've carried that forward now throughout my career. I'm an active member in NSBE, National Society of Black Engineers. I'm an active member in my Norfolk State University Alumni Association. I am also heavily involved with our ROTC unit at my alma mater, Norfolk State University. So it's been great to just learn and be professionally curious about what's going on around me, and just always trying to be better, just always trying to get better. That's a very good thing to try to remember for anyone that's watching K through 12. Continue to set goals, continue to be professionally curious, stay academically disciplined, and above all else, have fun. So when should students start mapping out career paths, and how early, since we don't know a lot about the world yet? You can always start mapping out based on what you know right now. You can, let's say you want to be a doctor. Well, okay, what kind of doctor? Do you want to be a cardiologist? Do you want to be a neurologist? Do you want to be a pediatrician and take care of kids? You know, you won't know what you don't know until you start asking questions. And that's part of the fun. I talk a lot with my mentees about what do they want out of life. And when they start focusing on those things, I always remind them that it's always about the journey and not the destination, because the journey is what's part of the fun. And so how did I get into a STEM career? Like I said before, I went to the Mississippi School for Mathematics and Science, but it started for me when I was younger. I remember when I was maybe 9 or 10 years old, maybe somewhere between 10 and 12, I think. I took apart my mom's VCR just to see what it looked like on the inside, and I put it back together and had a screw left over. So I knew I enjoyed taking it apart, but then I was concerned that I still had a part left over. So I knew I messed something up, but the VCR still worked after that. So I thought I was okay. But after I graduated from MSMS, Mississippi School for Mathematics and Science, I wasn't necessarily interesting enough. I wasn't necessarily interested in college at the beginning, right? I graduated in high school. So that's why I ended up enlisting in the Navy as an electronics technician. The program that they had, that the recruiter offered, it was called Advanced Electronics Computer Field. Now, I'll be honest with you, I didn't know what that meant, but it had two words that I liked in it: electronics and computer. And so I took a chance and joined the Navy. Ended up having a great time. I was, as an electronics technician, my focus was on radars, and specifically air traffic control radars. And so that continued to feed that professional curiosity that I talked about before. And things just grew from there. Again, having mentors. I remember my frontline supervisor. He's the one that first mentioned to me about officer programs. And I looked into it and I found this program called Seaman to Admiral 21. And when I looked at it, it said one of the options you have is to be a surface warfare officer. I did that, got selected. And then when I got to Norfolk State, believe it or not, my assistant professor of naval science, Lieutenant Paul Allgaier, who's another great mentor of mine, he was a nuclear trained surface warfare officer. And he was the one that exposed me to the career that I'm actually in now. So even though I graduated from high school at 18, I didn't learn about the current career I'm in now until I was around 25 years old. And so it just goes to show you don't know what you don't know, but set goals and set things for yourself that may be important, that can feed what you're doing to going forward. And that's my last slide. I'm available for questions and answers now. I hope everyone appreciated the presentation, and I look forward to the questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commander Walker. I thought it was really interesting learning your background from high school going into the Navy. I think, especially for you to be academically disciplined, that's extremely hard to do. And so my first question to you is, how did you manage your high school life as well as stuff that you were interested in? Because I know that you said that you took a lot of, advanced placement courses, and I know those are difficult being in them. And so how were you able to balance your outside life as well as, being on the books?
Well, it was tough because you have the temptation to want to go do things that aren't related to your academics. But what helped me was just understanding what my priorities were and knowing that I don't have to not have fun anytime. It was to be purposeful in the academics and to be purposeful in the things that were fun. For example, at MSMS, it was on a college campus, and so my classmates and I lived in actual dorms, and so we made time to hang out with each other. I still remember, even to this day, I still remember going to our student lounge area on my floor, and my roommates and I playing Street Fighter in the common area on our Super Nintendo, and that was just the things that we did. We planned in time, but we planned in time to do our work as well, which was tough.
Thank you so much. That's definitely good advice, especially prioritizing what needs to be done, but also, it never hurts to live life a little. Thank you so much.
Why is this an important job, what you do?
Oh, great question. It's important. The job that I have as a surface nuclear officer is generating, like I said before, generating that steam to be able to launch aircraft. And the aircraft that we launch, those aircraft provide support for the rest of our ships that are deployed overseas, because and those aircraft are also protecting the airspace, the international airspace that's around the world. The ships that are out there, they help to keep our sea lines communication open for trade. So the things that we buy in the store, all that stuff is not made in America. And so the career that I'm in allows for the economic environment that we have globally to continue to be sustained and maintained. So and I can go on that conversation all day.
Thank you so much. My last question to you is, with being in the Navy and, having a team, what skills do you use in leading a team on a daily? Because depending on the size, it must be difficult, as well as also commanding on the ship and stuff.
Absolutely. And that's a great question. And to tell you that leadership perspective evolves over the years. I would say as a junior officer, I say at the division officer level, I had a small team of, between 20 people on an aircraft carrier versus 60 people on an amphibious ship. And so the different sizes and different missions draws from different parts of your skill set. But the one of the things that were the same across both ships was that the finding what motivates your team and finding that connectedness to it. That was always important, because some of the work is hard and you're not always motivated to do it. So if you can help them find purpose in what they're doing, that's always helpful. And that still helps work. That works now in my role as an executive officer. I'm second in command of a crew of about 310 people. And so my overall role is to maintain the battle rhythm of the ship. One of the things that one thing I like to say anyway, is the commanding officer fights the ship. He's ready for all of our multi-domain, whether it's on land, on sea, or in the sea, or in the air. The commanding officer's primary mission is focused on those kinds of things. And I'm like a staff officer where I look at all the different departments, whether it's combat systems, engineering, weapons department, our administrative department, making sure that all of those things that are the same within those departments move at a steady pace, and the priorities are always set so that, one, the commanding officer doesn't have to worry about it, and then two, those subordinate officers and enlisted personnel that actually have to do that work, we're giving the right level of intent so that they have the right priorities and they are doing things and developing their own level of job satisfaction.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think that's amazing. And I think another question there is, well, actually, Moria, you can ask that one.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
In your career path?
Oh, that's a great question. A humbling one as well. I'm actually wrapping up my executive officer tour. In the next 2 weeks, I'm going to turn over to a very good officer, Commander Ray Miller, as executive officer, and I'm going to take a little break, and then I come back in late July, and I have the honor of fleeting up as the ship's next commanding officer. So I'll be overall in charge of the ship here in late July. So truly honored, truly humbled by it. And I'll tell you, like I enlisted in the Navy, and commanding a ship was never on my radar. I just joined the Navy to be an electronics technician. And now I'm on the cusp of commanding a U.S. naval warship here very soon. So I'm honored by that.
Congratulations.
Congrats. That's a major step. So I'm super happy for you.
You will have BSSTEM Career Day as the Navy captain and share your personal experiences. Absolutely.
I look forward to it.
We hope all of you are enjoying learning more about STEM careers at today's BSSTEM Career Day. We would like to share a little about STEM City USA.
What if you could build your own city? A place where every child can find nurturing people to help them achieve their full potential. A place where every adult can access job training support. Where health education is abundant. Where social justice ruled the land. A place without limitations. Welcome. You have arrived at STEM City USA. It is what every city should be. A safe and trusted community where you find people and resources to help you become everything you are and beyond. STEM City is unlike anything you have ever experienced. It is a digital twin of the world around you, only better. STEM City is about energy and soul renewal. It is more than a digital world. You can almost feel the power of live cultural events, music, and theater. STEM City promises a better future for children with caring mentors and hands-on activities with dedicated tutors to support our youth. STEM City is your passport to a healthy lifestyle with weekly events addressing our community's many issues. STEM City is your financial well-being with helpful information on wealth management, career advancement, job training, and so much more. STEM City is the community you deserve. It is the city where your dreams can come true. STEM City USA, a place in the sky that is accessible to all who reach for the stars.
We want to share some exciting news. We're looking for BSSTEM Career Day ambassadors. Each year, we invite interested teens, grades 9 through 12, to audition as ambassadors. What are ambassadors required to do? Join us the second weekend of the month and host a BSSTEM Career Day, and we introduce and interview guest STEM professionals. To be considered, you must be engaging on camera, articulate, excited about STEM careers, responsible, and have a minimum GPA of 2.5. Visit fullstemahead.us for more information. Complete the interest application, and you may be invited to join us for our next Career Day as a BEA STEM Career Day ambassador.
Are you in touch? Visit mystemcity.com and join the In Touch community. We have our own social media sharing app, and we want you to join so you can stay in touch with the latest STEM City USA news, big events, exciting activities with our STEM City USA partners, and career activities. Visit mystemcity.com and join today. Now a word from one of our Career Day supporters, Mr. Matt Bowman.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. And Commander Walker, wow, what a presentation. It was absolutely fantastic and just what we all needed to hear. You said that you were not King James in high school in basketball, but our national chairman, Vice Admiral Andy Wins, and Brigadier General Velma von Richardson would argue with that. It is said that next to being a professional athlete, being a military officer is the next best thing. You talked about Hurricane Katrina, doing service. You talked about science and being passionate about the sweet science of leadership and the sweet science of math and figuring out technology. And then, listen, on that ship, as a commander at sea, you will be the king. So for anyone who is not 6'9" and 250 pounds, maybe you can't be King James on the court, but you can be Commander Desmond Walker at sea. You can be Queen Moria Bowman. You can be Queen Mimi. You can be Queen Joy. So for all the young people who are listening, stay tuned. The opportunities in front of you will allow you to rise to the highest heights of your career. All right, over to you, Mimi.
Thank you so much, Mr. Matt Bowman. You know, that was really some good advice that you gave. In our next segment, we would like to find out about Commander Walker's educational background. We know he graduated from Norfolk State University, but he didn't stop there, and we would like to know more. So my first question to you, Commander Walker, is why did you choose first Norfolk State University to pursue higher education?
Hey, great question, Mimi. Norfolk State was kind of the right answer for a lot of the right reasons. At the time, I was already assigned to USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, like I said, when I was enlisted. So its home port is Norfolk, Virginia. And then I was already married at this point, and also had my first child as well. And so I'd already taken my roots here in the area. And then looking at the different colleges in the Hampton Roads area, Norfolk State just was a perfect fit. I was electronics technology background in the military. They offered an electronics technology degree, and it allowed my experience to translate towards some transfer credit. So I was actually able to start my collegiate career as a second semester sophomore, which then allowed me to commission in 2.5 years, as opposed to, or graduate and commission in 2.5 years, as opposed to the notional 4-year college experience. So that's why I picked Norfolk State, and I'm so glad it was the right choice. And I continue to be honored by that right now. Behold the green and gold is what we say.
I think that's so cool how convenient that worked out. It was like, oh, I'm working here, but like this has the degree I'm looking in. I think that's really cool. Another question I was wondering about was, being in the Navy as well as going to college as well, how were you able to balance being, I believe, was it Old Dominion? Mm-hmm. And being in the Navy as well? What would you say was the most difficult or challenging thing to balance both?
I would say it would be because balancing, it was the academic requirements plus my job as a nuclear program manager, plus again having a family at home. Because if you have the work and then you have the academics, even if it's an online course, that's time that you can't spend with your family. And so communicating, sometimes over communicating what the priorities are, it was hard work. But I was committed to making that work. And I think that's what's most important is the discipline and commitment across all three of those areas. I was committed to my job, I was committed to my academic improvement, and I was committed to my family. And understanding that there's a give and take there was very helpful. Was I perfect at it? Nope. But through those challenges, I was able to be successful and build on some skills that continue to help me today.
Wow, that's really amazing. I know it's definitely hard balancing a lot of things at once, especially, I know I can't talk, I'm only in high school, but especially when it's like college and family and work. So I think that's very commendable. And my last question to you would be, what was your first thing that made you feel like, being in the Navy, being a nuclear engineer, that's where I would like to go? I know you said earlier about taking apart your mom's VR set, but what was that other moment that made you be like, yes, like this is what I want to do like the rest of my life?
That's a good question. I think that probably, I'll say this first. I think over the years, I have grown to really appreciate representation, regardless of the sector that you're in. And being an African-American in the Navy in a highly skilled specialty, I think means a lot. And so having an opportunity to show others like yourself, Mimi and Moria, that you can do this, that's important. I remember when I was enlisted, I didn't, there were no African-American officers at all on my ship that I knew about. And I happened to find one when I was working on another qualification. He was the flight deck control officer. His name, he was called a handler. And he was very inspirational to letting me know that I did not have to be limited based on what I know for myself. I can see others be successful and know that I can do it too. And so then that's one part. And another part is when I talked earlier about the certifying process as a nuclear engineering officer. Believe it or not, I actually failed that certification the first time. And so I had to redo it a second time, and they give you an extra test portion and they give you an extra interview as well. But I did so well on my interviews that they were definitely saying, we're going to certify you, that you continue to perform on these duties. And I've been grateful ever since. So I have things like that continue to motivate me. Everything hasn't been easy. There's been a lot of hard work and some setbacks, but it's how you channel those setbacks to be fuel from propelling you forward has been a very good key to my success.
Thank you so much, Commander Walker. You just answering my questions alone was very helpful and very inspirational. So thank you so much.
Now I have for you. First of all, were there a lot of campus resources to help with tutoring, financial aid, career guidance, and did you take advantage of them?
Absolutely. One of the challenges I had to overcome was my gap in academics between enlisting at 18 and starting college at 25. So I basically went 7 years without being in an academic environment, not counting my training specifically for the Navy as electronics technician. And so when I entered back into the academic environment, I definitely needed tutors to refresh my skills on algebra, on trigonometry, on geometry, to get back up to speed for calculus 1 and 2. Physics was a struggle for me in the beginning as well, because I just didn't have the background, or I wasn't proficient in those academic skills. So I definitely took advantage of tutoring. And then absolutely, by the time I became a senior at Norfolk State, I then volunteered as a tutor as well as a way to give back. Financial aid was also important as well. Even though I had an ROTC scholarship, it didn't pay for absolutely everything, and so I was eligible for a few local scholarships based on my training and my background, my demographics that supplemented what I got from the Navy, and so and the Norfolk State staff was helpful in that process as well. So Norfolk State was always helpful to me. And quick shout out to the dean of the school at the time, Mr. Suleiman. He was just an awesome advocate from developing my degree plan to all the way to graduation. He was instrumental in my success in Norfolk State.
Thank you. How did you stay motivated in college?
Oh man, you want to be honest with you? The fact that it was already paid for and I didn't want to waste that investment. That's what was motivating me. A lot of people were counting on me to be successful. My family, especially, because this opportunity to go from enlisted to officer meant a significant increase in my income and benefits. And so I did definitely not want to waste that opportunity. So I'd say that was my motivation.
That's a very good motivator. Do you have I saw in your presentation, you do have a mentor. Well, Commander Walker, thank you for answering my questions. And we were so excited to have you as our guest speaker today. Thank you again for joining us to share your career. Now, I'm going to bring it over to Mr. Matt. Over to you, Mr. Matt.
Listen, thank you, Moria. Thank you, Commander King Walker, and to Mimi and to Joy. Here at Bay of Stars and Stripes, we have a saying, and that is that we engage with young people, we educate them so that we can set them up on a path to excellence and to excel in life. But it's just not words. Words mean nothing without actions. So today, on behalf of Dr. Tyrone Taborn, Vice Admiral Andy Wins, the national founders and the national board, I am proud to announce that we're going to give $1,000 worth of scholarships to each of our Bay of Stars and Stripes STEM ambassadors. So congratulations to Moria, congratulations to Mimi, congratulations to Joy. Even the dog is barking in enthusiasm about this big announcement. So we want to continue this. We want to engage with more students around the country. So as Mimi said, if you are a high school student with a great personality who likes to talk about STEM, please join us. If you want to be a part of the In Touch community, please join us. So again, congratulations to our Bay of Stars and Stripes STEM ambassadors. Use that $1,000 to follow in Commander Walker's footsteps, and don't waste this opportunity. Over to you, Joy, for the close.
Thank you so much for the scholarship. It is so greatly appreciated. I'm so excited to announce that I will be attending Morgan State University as class of 2027.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Mr. Matt Bowman. Oh, no, you good.
I'm proud to announce that I'm undecided, but I'm undecided, and I plan to make my decision on July 4th, 2023. But thank you so much for the scholarship. Mimi?
Thank you again, Mr. Matt Bowman. Me and Moria are also the same. I haven't found a solid college yet, but I am looking at a lot. I know that I have Virginia Tech on my list, as well as Carnegie Mellon. And so I'm still deciding, but hopefully I will find the school that's right for me. But thank you once again for the scholarship. It is deeply appreciated.
Absolutely. And Admiral Wynn, sir, General Richardson, on behalf of the entire Bay of Stars and Stripes leadership team, Dr. Taborn, we congratulate you young people and wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for all who joined us for Career Day with Commander Walker. Remember to visit STEMcityUSA.com for more Bay STEM Career Day segments. We would like to give a very special thanks to our Bay of STEM Career Day sponsor, Lockheed Martin. They are known for their groundbreaking work in aerospace, arms defense, information security, and technology around the world. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and join us for the next Career Day on June 10th, 2023. See you next time.
I work at Lockheed Martin as a cybersecurity systems engineer, and I've been at Lockheed for 19 years. The role of cybersecurity engineering has a tremendous impact on the mission to deliver secure systems to our customers. I have 3 children. My kids are the center of my universe. I would not be able to continue working effectively as a working parent if it had not been for the flexibility in our work schedule and the flexibility of our leaders to help me exercise a flexible work schedule. One of the reasons why I've been at Lockheed Martin for 19 years is because I think the culture and the values that we demonstrate really reflect my own personal values. Performing with excellence, acting with integrity, those are steadfast values that we talk about day to day. I have seen great changes in the diversity within our company. 19 years ago, there weren't a whole lot of women in leadership, so the few that we had were highly coveted. Today, I'm proud to say that we see quite a few women in leadership roles. The advice that I would provide to young women and girls who are interested in STEM is go for it. You can do it. Don't let anyone stop you.
Calling all future STEM pioneers, leaders, and career champions. Join us on every second Saturday of the month for the BEA Career Day. BEA STEM Career Day is all about creating opportunities for students to venture into the world of STEM through the eyes of professionals. You'll meet mentors and presenters that will give you a sneak peek into the many options available to you in the field of STEM. Hosted by teen ambassadors, you'll find yourself among inspiring peers just like yourself that are aiming high for their future. To take part in the BEA STEM Career Day on Zoom, visit fullstemahead.us and register for the next session. Again, that's fullstemahead.us. BEA, becoming everything you are.